Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're here to go 16 through 30 for our wide receiver rankings. Some interesting players in this group. I think, Jeff, I was looking at this before. We have a couple guys that we're about 10 spots different on that fall on this list. So we're going to have to, you have to explain yourself. So
yeah, a little bit different than our first 15, that's for sure, where we were spot on.
But this group, I think, is why we say that wide receiver is so deep, and that's why I like to go running back early, or at least, get first-round running back. You can get these players as your wide receiver 2 or 3, and you're perfectly fine. There's a lot of guys here that I think could be really, really good this year, so we'll get into that. Before we do that, make sure you check us out on Twitter at the FF Prophet. We're on Instagram at Fantasy Football Prophet. The website's fantasyfootballprophet.com. You can always send us questions at fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com or message us on Twitter, Instagram, wherever. We'll have a mailbag episode every week, so any of your questions we'll get on that for you. And we're just going to jump right into the episode. Start off with a number 16 player this year, and it's going to be Demaryius Thomas. He's your 17th. He's my 16th, so we're really close on that. And you've put him on a list of safe players, I know, early on this year.
So we've talked about him a little bit, but he's one of them that kind of goes under the radar because he's been around for so long. And he, it's very true. I mean, just going right into it, he doesn't have the greatest quarterback situation, right?
No, that's the only downfall with him. It's the quarterback situation. Because, still last year with a terrible quarterback situation, he had 90 catches, 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. If that's the low end of what he's going to do, that's pretty solid, I would say, with that terrible quarterback situation. So
yeah, and right now Simeon is supposed to be the starter over Lynch. You never know how it's going to play out, actually. But, Simeon played much of last year, so you think that he improves a little bit. But really Demaryius is really as safe as it comes. Even with that kind of whole situation going on, their running backs weren't getting it done. They really leaned on that defense. He was still ranked, I believe, I'll have to look it up, but about 20th overall. I think 21st as a wide receiver in that terrible of a situation is really not too bad. And even better, people are forgetting about him. So it's not like you're overpaying for him, even if he ends up number 20.
No, I don't see him being valued very high at all. Like, he's kind of... You're not going to overpay for him. So if he doesn't really do much more than he did last year, I think you're paying for what he did last year from everything I've seen. I haven't heard people excited about him. No one seems to be. So I think if there's any step up in quarterback play, he's going to jump up a little bit. He's a great player. He's just obviously shown that when he had Peyton Manning throwing him the ball. Even when Osweiler was there, he wasn't that bad, which is still strange that Osweiler did that for him. But I think I kind of like it just because I think it's a good value this year.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think you're overpaying for him at all. And even better, I think he actually still has upside because of where he's going. Yep. Compared to last year when I don't think people really understood the full gravity of what was happening at the QB.
Yep.
So, yeah, I absolutely love the guy. And, what else can you say against him? Every time that he goes out there, he's, he looks like the dominant player. Just a giant guy, great in the red zone. He really has no weakness to his game.
And actually, when we put him here at 16, I kind of feel like we might be even high on him, but we're not. He's actually consensus-wise 14th right now. His ADP's 14, which maybe people are coming around on that. I just don't see it in drafts, though. Yeah, I don't see it like in an auction, I guess I'm saying. Maybe in a snake draft does that, but in an auction, I don't feel like his price goes too crazy. And so you can get him for, some good price here. Right now, he's ranked one spot behind Brandon Cooks and Hopkins, who were on our last episode, and ADP's right behind them. I like that where he's at. We're pretty close on that one.
Yeah.
And I really don't think his quarterback situation is going to be worse this year. If anything, it'll be better. I think they want Paxton Lynch to take that job. Don't know if he's going to get to that point.
Yeah, they want to, but we'll see. I guess preseason will tell a lot about that.
All right, number 17 is Davante Adams, my 19th player, your 16th player. Mm-hmm. So I think you're going to have him on one of your teams this year. If I'm correct.
So he will be.
He's kind of your guy.
He'll be a keeper on one of them.
So what do you like? I know what you like about the offense. I think all the numbers he did. Is there any hesitation that this could be Randall Cobb Part 2? Remember Randall Cobb a couple years ago? Had like 12 touchdowns. Came back and just didn't quite do it. Could this happen to Davante Adams? Is he that special of a talent?
He could, right? It could happen. I don't see it. I really don't see it because I think that's the only reason that happened to Cobb is because he got injured.
Yeah.
It wasn't he just got outplayed. Davante Adams had a wonderful season. Will he regress a bit? Probably, because he had a ridiculous touchdown year.
That's my worry. It's a lot of touchdowns.
But even with that, I mean, so he ended up, I got to look these up real quick, but I'm pretty sure he ended up 8th overall
It was right around
in wide
there.
receivers. So he ends up 8th overall in wide receivers, and now you can get him at, 17th. So even if he regresses, you're still getting him, that's where I think he should be valued.
Actually, his ADP currently is 21st right now.
See, and I think that's a little too low.
That is. I mean, that's
especially with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, he's behind. I'm trying to look at some of the players behind, like Allen Robinson. Those kind. He's behind Pryor, which I like Pryor, but I can see that he's also behind. He's one spot behind Jarvis Landry.
Well, especially with Cutler and all of the things going on in Miami, Jarvis Landry has fallen for me.
Maybe he'll be suspended himself.
And
not this year probably. Yeah, nothing will happen.
We'll find out. But he was right around 1,000 yards. So, and only 75 receptions. So it's not like he had the greatest year he could ever possibly have. Mm-hmm. He had 12 touchdowns. So say even if that falls to 8, which would be a huge regression, I think this is still a good spot for him.
Well, and people might look at those numbers first years and be like, yeah, well, it's just maybe a 1-year fluke, but really it's a 3rd-year breakout if you really look at it. Like we've talked about many times about these receivers. They seem to break out year 3, year 4. Maybe that's what it was, too. Combine that with a good offense. I mean, the volume should be there. Do you think you still can get that 120 targets? That's if Cobb's healthy, Martellus Bennett.
The question is why wouldn't he, I guess, get that kind of,
If they like him as their sure number 2, I just think there's something more with Cobb there.
Yeah, I think you might be the lone guy actually on the Cobb bandwagon right now. I like him, but I do see him as a number 3. I see him as a distant 3. And also Davante Adams, what I like about that is the same thing you saw with Jordy Nelson, right? Obviously he's not Jordy Nelson, but at the same time, him and Aaron Rodgers work very well together in the red zone. Hence why Jordy Nelson always gets a ton of touchdowns. It's not always long bombs to him, even though he's super fast. Davante Adams works very well down there too. I guess my bigger concern more than Cobb is the fact that they get their running game going and they don't have to throw in those red zone situations as much. But tell you the truth, I don't really see that happening either. I think Ty Montgomery, it will be a little more serviceable as a running back, but I think he'll probably end up being more of a wide receiver down there anyway. So I think people are putting Davante Adams down a little too low, but I understand the hesitation. Regression a bit, yes. But is he still a top 15? I think so.
All right, number 18, Sammy Watkins. And we have a little bit of a different... I see you shaking your head already at this
I
one.
already know this is going to turn into a fight.
I have him 14th. You have him 21st.
Would you... Okay.
Sammy Watkins, if he's healthy, he will be a top 10 receiver without a doubt. If he plays 16 games this year, I'm putting him 14th right now, but if he plays 16 games, he will be in the top 10 at the end of the year. Okay. I'm almost 100% sure of that. I'm ranking him lower because I'm not sure he's going to play 16 games, obviously. That's the hesitation.
That's the question. How many games does he have to play for him to actually be 14th?
14.
So you actually think he's going to play 14 games? That's my whole argument with
He's
him.
ready to go in the preseason here. That's a big step. Like they're probably going to play him in preseason game 1 here. That alone shows me that, hey, there's no question marks there. They're not worried about it. They're not holding them out.
Well, yeah. I'm
going to read it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, yes, if he will move up my charts probably to the beginning of the year if he actually doesn't seem like he's getting banged up. Yeah. But that foot is an incredibly scary thing for a wide receiver to have. So I back off, and I think 14. I mean, if you really have any concerns about him getting hurt, which he's one of the few players I actually consider that, would I take him over a bunch of the other guys? That's why he keeps drifting back for me. Because it doesn't matter how great you are. If you're not on the field, you can't give me any points.
Well, why I like to take him here, I put him there, and I think I like him as a wide receiver too, is because of how deep wide receiver is. I feel like if you're even if you play 3 receivers, but especially in a league where you play 2 receivers, you get Sammy Watkins as your 2, but you can get really solid options as your 3 or 4. That if Sammy Watkins doesn't work out, you throw in Calvin Benjamin, Willie Snead, Moncrief, one of those kind of guys, and they become your 2 and you're okay with it. That's kind of why I like to take a risk on a guy I think could be a top-end wide receiver. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I think he's, out of these guys in his middle tier, I think he has the best, he's the best, I think, talent here. Yeah, has the most potential to be a top guy.
I don't argue with that. Yeah, I mean, he really is phenomenal talent-wise. Is he more of a situational player? So if you already have a safe number one,
yes.
So if you didn't have that, he might drop down because there is more risk.
Yeah, and that's I never want him as my number one, which just, I mean, at 14, that is getting a little borderline on being that, which is kind of scary, but I don't want him to be that number one. Yeah, I'd like to have more of a top 5 guy to pair him with if I'm down. If my number one's like a T.Y. Hilton or an Amari Cooper, especially if it's Amari Cooper. I don't really probably want to team up Cooper and Watkins. There's a lot of potential there. They both could be great, but Cooper's not going to get touchdowns, but who knows? We talked about him last time, but
so rate him according to talent. But when you're in the draft, it's situational. It'll be situational.
And that's why
I get that.
Like we rank these guys in an order, but roster construction can be different. You just can't always go 100% by the ranks. You got to what you have. You might have to get a safe option. You might go more risky. This depends. Which good safe options are number 19 guy, Michael Crabtree. Yeah. My 18th. Your 19th, right there. Just consistent. He's going to get a lot of targets. He's in a pretty good offense. Cooper, I think, is going to step up a little bit, but I don't really know if that's going to take away a lot of targets. I think Cooper might just get some more touchdowns. Crabtree, I think he's just going to be safe. I mean, I can't remember his target numbers, but his target numbers, we had talked about him a while back, were just ridiculous every year. He continually gets targets every time.
Yeah, and he's only been on Oakland for 2 years, but his numbers are almost identical each of those 2 years, and I would expect very, very similar. So I do think that Carr will be a little bit better, and I think Amari Cooper will be better, but I don't think that leaves Crabtree out in the cold by any means. So I think another 1,000 yards with 8 TDs is probably what you can expect from him, and he is very, very safe. Yeah, so that's what you love about that kind of guy.
The only thing I hate when I get down to this level of wide receivers, because I know I always look at this way, but I want these guys as my third. It doesn't quite work that way, but I guess there's some guys below him that could be a little better, but he's just very safe, and I'd like to. Yeah, again, he's a guy I'd like to team with. One of those back end wide receiver ones that might not be as like a T.Y. Hilton type or Michael Thomas even.
Right, just buoy it to make sure.
But I don't think you can go wrong with him. I'm not terribly excited about it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like.
Yep, I totally understand.
I get a few of these guys like this where I'm just kind of not. I can't get excited about them, I guess, but they're on my team. I'm okay with it. But the nice thing is about like a Crabtree, I feel like he doesn't go for a crazy price.
No, he doesn't, and he's kind of nice too in one direction. He's kind of, because do get him and say, okay, I have a legitimate number 2 receiver on my team that's probably going to be safe week in and week out. Yeah. And then if I get a bunch of these guys, because it is really deep, if I get a bunch of these guys later on and one of them breaks out, then even better, right? So I can slide Crabtree down 1, so he's the number 3 consistent guy. Yeah. But then again, if there's an injury, anything like that, I still have that safe number 2 wide receiver to lay back on.
I say that I like him to be my wide receiver 3. We don't quite rank him as that, but I think you could. His ADP is 23 right now.
Yeah, and that shows it too. I think once you're in there, you start taking guys with what you can perceive as higher ceilings.
That's what happens with Crabtree. People rank him like they should, in a way, and then he doesn't actually. You don't draft him that way because he's ranked, let's say, 5 spots ahead of Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill's being drafted ahead of him. So
and that kind of perceived ceiling.
Yep, and Landry's being drafted ahead of him as well. So I get it. I get why it happens because I kind of feel the same way sometimes. But there's a lot worse options than Michael Crabtree.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go number 20. I think this is a worse option. I'm not a fan of this one. Allen Robinson. Your 18th, my 21st. Maybe it's not the player. It's just I don't like the team. Yeah. And the more I think about it, the more I look at it, I don't think Blake Bortles is any good at all. We talked about we think Jacksonville should give him another chance, one more year. Sure, give him that year, but I just don't think he's going to do anything with that year. I don't think he's good. And that's why I don't think there's going to be a good situation for Allen Robinson. I think they want to run the ball. If you heard this from Doug Marrone, their coach, is basically, if he could run the ball every play, they're going to. I don't think that bodes well for. Just coach speak. He's just saying a lot of these coaches want to run the ball. I think he doesn't want to pass the ball with Blake Bortles. That's for.
Yeah, I don't know what happened between. His sophomore year, it looked like he took a giant leap. Bortles did.
I think just garbage time.
And then he came back to down to earth. And that was a big thing. With Allen Robinson, when you have a quarterback that's throwing 35 touchdowns, he really is quite an athlete where he can go up, get it, he can do a lot of great things on the field. So when you're getting that kind of opportunity, he's wonderful. And then you drop all the way down to 23 touchdowns from your quarterback, and it becomes very like feast or famine. So I'm hoping the run game kind of gets that offense back on track. But I think Allen Robinson here is probably okay. That last year does scare me quite a bit because I'm not really – it's hard to pinpoint exactly what went wrong for him.
I just think the quarterback's bad. I think Allen Robinson's talented enough.
I mean,
he showed that.
2 years ago he was phenomenal.
I honestly think it's just going to be Blake Bortles, and that's going to be the problem. And I don't know if he's good enough. I don't think there's any way that he's going to ever do anything more than that.
I think the reason you can draft him here at number 20 is the same reason – that I fight it, but you can draft DeAndre Hopkins, in the top 15. Like, they're that talented, they can overcome it. And let's be honest, Allen Robinson is still probably in a better situation than DeAndre Hopkins is.
Maybe. I don't know.
The fact that Bortles has thrown 35 touchdowns and 4,500 yards is one thing compared to, Tom Savage. Is DeAndre Hopkins more talented? Yes, I would say without a doubt. But, you just never know. And I think the only the extra knock against Allen Robinson is he's not the only guy in town. I mean, they have Marquise Lee. Hearns has shown he can do a little bit with the new run game. So they have a few more weapons that I think they can spread the ball around to. So that's kind of more what scares me more than Bortles, right? Because it doesn't matter how bad you suck as long as you keep throwing the ball.
Yeah, speaking of Marquise Lee, I still don't see the guy being drafted anywhere.
I know, and that's a crazy one because he actually was quietly good, and you brought him up earlier.
I haven't drafted him either, so I can't say much, but I'm just watching him on the waivers. I guess there's guys I like ahead of him. I think he will step up. We're not going to talk about him even on our next episode, so maybe in our top 60.
Yeah, maybe another sleeper episode.
Number 21 is Terrelle Pryor, who actually is both of our 20th ranked players. That's the way it works. He drops 21st. He's an interesting one, new situation. I don't really 100% know what to expect. I think obviously he's in a better situation than Cleveland, so you just have to think the numbers are going to go up because of that. I mean, 77 catches for 1,000 yards, 4 touchdowns. So at the very least, I think the touchdowns go up. If he keeps those numbers similar, 80 and 1,000, if he gets 8 touchdowns, he's even more valuable, and he was already a good player. But I see people, I mean, not a lot of the experts necessarily. There's some that put him in the top 10 that I see. I think that's a little wishful thinking right there. And I don't see that. I think there's still a lot of options to throw the ball around. Well, there could be, I guess. Jordan Reed, who knows with him. So if Jordan Reed's healthy, though, if Crowder's there getting catches, if Josh Doxson steps up, which I hope still happens, is there going to be enough to go around for Pryor to have a massive year or not? And I think that's kind of, we're ranking him 20th because that's kind of our worry too. But.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I really like Pryor, and it's kind of funny because I'm like 20th is, it's a good spot for him. But last year he was 18th, and he was on a way worse team. So he's one of those that probably continue to go up my board when I actually get the courage to kind of leapfrog a lot of these other guys. And that's the problem. The guys in front of him have kind of proven it. They've been in this situation before where they're on the same team for 3 years in a row. So you kind of know what to expect. Especially, he's really only had 1 full year of being a wide receiver. Yeah, he has. And that was last year.
It is 1 full year. I mean, the other year he had 1 catch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, last year was it.
The other great thing about him too is it was one of the stats I had talked about previously, probably a month ago or so. But really, when he was on Cleveland, the percent of throws that were to him that were off target, it was crazy. It was like a quarter.
Oh, yeah.
And it was mind blowing, and he still put up that kind of numbers. So, this guy has probably got one of the higher ceilings in the NFL once before you hit probably the top 7 wide receivers.
It's too bad he didn't convert to receiver about 4 years ago now because he's 28 years old already. So,
and I think that's probably why Cleveland let him go. So it might actually benefit him.
And it kind of worries me in a way. He only got a 1-year deal, and there wasn't really many people out there trying to get him. It felt like I just don't know. Maybe teams know more than us. I feel like there's something there. I just gonna kind of. 20th is, we're not going crazy with this rank, so I still like him. But
yeah, personally, I would love to have him on my team. But once again, you look at all these other guys.
How comfortable do you feel with him as a wide receiver too? Do you feel comfortable with that?
Well, I feel like it's very similar to my feelings as Sammy Watkins.
Okay, but that's why I guess you'd feel comfortable with him as a wide receiver too, especially if you went running back heavy early, then yeah, that's the kind of guy I guess you are okay with.
Yeah,
that's why you feel okay with it, because it's not maybe the greatest option, but
yeah.
How much worse is he than some of the guys ahead of him, I guess.
Exactly. I don't feel like he's necessarily an injury risk. I mean, he has all the tools too. I mean, 6'4", the guy can really fly, and you're with Kirk Cousins in that that Washington offense who loves to throw the ball. And we don't really know if their run game is going to be any good this year. Yeah. So, yeah, I really do like this guy's upside.
Yeah. And just say again, we have these guys ranked in this certain order right now, but in reality, they're so interchangeable in this group, I think. From all the ones we've talked about, I could put in any order and be okay with it, really. And that's why I think wide receiver is so deep. I mean, yeah, there's some I like a little bit more, but there's so many good players here. So
yeah, I do think that. And once again, that's why we always talk about harp on getting running backs early. It's because in this middle section, they are a little bit interchangeable, and I think it does come down to a little more situation, how you're building your team, what you got prior, what you got before. That's funny. But, yeah, so Terrelle Pryor, wonderful athlete. I think this will be the measuring stick to see what he's going to do the next couple of years, especially if he gets a rapport with Cousins early.
Another wonderful athlete, Martavis Bryant, 22nd.
Another guy I would love to keep going up. And now we actually might be able to.
He looks like he's finally cleared today to finally actually participate in practice. I mean, it's weird. Martavis Bryant's just a weird situation for me. I'm actually starting to like him a lot lately. Ended up on one of my teams. Actually, he's on two of my teams right now. And I don't know why I came around it. I guess it's just, again, if you're looking for a player in this group of players that has the ability and the talent to jump up into a top 10, he's the guy, I think. Just... he hasn't played very much. That's it. I mean, when he did play, he looked great, and he's going to be opposite Antonio Brown, so no one's going to cover him.
Yeah, he is in a great position. And I've liked this guy a long time. It's just, I wish he would have gotten his stuff together before, so, you're not wrong the year before when he gets busted and gets suspended. But, yeah, and the thing I don't like about Bryant, and the only thing I don't like about him is the fact that he's getting so much hype.
Yeah,
so he's not going to go for any sort of value. You'll actually have to go up and get him ahead of a bunch of guys that are much safer options.
Yeah, see, we have him 22nd, which is weird. You have him 23rd, I have him 25th, just the way that ended up working out. We're a little higher. His consensus rank right now is 27th, but he is being drafted ADP 24. So he's moving up, I think.
And now that he's reinstated officially, I'm sure he'll actually keep moving up. And this guy is literally one big play in the preseason away from skyrocketing in the top 15. And you see it all the time. And it could happen with a bunch of guys. But this guy is such a big playmaker. You're not going to do it if you see a guy get, 5 catches in the preseason, you're not going to wow. But this guy can make one catch and people will lose their minds. So
he's one of those guys. Yeah, if he has this big preseason, he's going to jump up on another one in a little bit. Kelvin Benjamin done it tonight already, and people are already hearing it. Yep. Kelvin Benjamin's looking great in preseason. I mean, I don't really take much stock into preseason. Maybe preseason game 3 when the starters play the first half and there's actually a full. No one's playing their real defense right now. No, it's just not.
It's more about rookies for me for preseason. Yeah. I just want to see the running back, if he looks comfortable, if he's making good cuts, hitting holes. That's more what I look for.
Just try not to read too much into it. I mean, we've seen guys break out in the preseason and never heard from again. So just sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. So how do we know when it does? It's just kind of pay attention to it, but not too much. Don't jump up $10 in an auction on a guy because of it.
Yeah, and the thing also you have to love about Bryant is, I mean, really, what's a realistic touchdown margin that he could actually get? His rookie year, 2014, he only played in 10 games and he had 8 touchdowns. And in 2015, he played in 11 games and had 6. So, I mean, they love him in the red zone. I mean, he's 6'4". He's very, very fast, very athletic. It seems like this is the first year he's actually training at all, which is very scary. So, I mean, he is one of these freak athletes, much like Pryor. I mean, both are 6'4", both can really run. So both of these guys I'm really, really high on because I just think the sky's the limit if they can really, lock down that, for him wide receiver 2, but Pryor wide receiver 1.
Well, we move from Bryant to a guy pretty much on the opposite end of the spectrum in age and how much he's done. It's Larry Fitzgerald. He's done everything. He's still up here for us, 23rd. This is weird because, he's my 26th, you're 24th. These guys are a little higher because we have guys coming down a little bit that we are so far apart on that just end up skewing these rankings a little bit. But Fitzgerald, I mean, how do you not expect 100 catches? That's pretty much how this rank is. If it's a PPR league, he should be a little bit higher, and you're going to get a great year out of him because really, it's him and John Brown catch balls, and we don't even know if John Brown's what he's going to do yet. And even at the very best, I don't see John Brown being a guy who's going to get a lot of targets. I see like a 70 catch season. Who else is there? What's there? The rookie? What's his name? Chad Williams? Is that J.J. Nelson's there? Those kind of guys. I mean, it's still going to be Larry Fitzgerald.
And I'm wondering how much he actually will get because it is, but if JJ's there and John Brown is actually healthy and Johnson is really going to get as many carries and touches as they say he is. I mean, the last 2 years he had 109 catches and 107. So, I mean, that is crazy high production. And he got 1,200 yards and then 1,000. So I feel like it is going down slowly. Doesn't mean he won't be able to be usable. But this is the first year where I'm actually kind of backing away from Fitzgerald a little bit and saying, usable, definitely. But will he always be that confident, even number 3 wide receiver? I'm starting to have my doubts for the first time. But, I mean, that's pretty crazy after – I mean, how long has he been in the league?
14 seasons, I think.
That is
this is year 14.
Crazy production for that long. So 33, wow. So, yeah. But I think at this point, he pretty much serves as their tight end.
He's a tight end. Exactly. He's basically a tight end. Who is their tight end? Gresham yet?
I think Gresham's
They don't use him. Fitzgerald basically fills that role. He's going to get all those catches. It's like an Anquan Boldin, kind of situation. Not quite, but better than Boldin. Well, but Bolden's even like 36 and still in the league. Fitzgerald might have a few more
signed
years.
with Buffalo.
Which he's not going to make my ranks anywhere. It's just that kind of they're moving into that kind of role, and I think the catches are still going to be there because of it. But there could still be some touchdowns. The yards aren't going to be crazy. He's not going to get, probably huge yardage games. That could drop him. That's why he's a lot more valuable in PPR than he is standard. But I know what you mean. Like he's not going to go for much in many auction drafts, so he's always ranked here. But you can get him as a 4th receiver on a lot of instances.
He's always a value pick. That's what's wonderful about him. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I think you ended up with him last year. I put you on the spot, but do you remember what you got him for? I know it was an auction draft.
I think I've had him the last 2 seasons, and I'm pretty sure I got him for about $7 each time, right around there. It's under $10, which I don't think you can go wrong with that. There's no risk.
No, yeah.
So if this is the year he does just fall off, gets hurt, never does anything again, you're not out anything. But if he's steady, he's a good steady option. And
in 14 seasons, he's missed 6 games.
Yeah, that is crazy. He just doesn't. He's always there. He's always going to get some catches. All right, number 24 for us is Golden Tate. I actually have him up at 23 right now, and you have him 28th. So, I mean, it's still that same kind of range. If he can continue what he did the last half of last season, he's going to be up there no problem. But if he has the beginning of last year...
Which one are we going to see? That's pretty much what it comes down to.
It's the same thing with Marvin Jones. It's the opposite. We don't have Marvin in these ranks until we get a little deeper, but I kind of think Marvin Jones is going to step up a little bit. It's not going to be end of the year Marvin Jones, but it's not going to be beginning of the year, so it might be more of a mix. I mean... It's a hard read for me with Golden Tate. Again, he's another guy I just don't get excited about. Because, I don't know. I hate with these guys because I don't exactly know what to expect. When they have 2 halves of a season that are so different, how do you know which one's going to show up this year? I hate that. That makes it I'm very hesitant to draft a guy like that.
Yeah. And the thing about that, too, is he's never been a big touchdown guy. So 3 seasons with Detroit, who he's obviously with now. He's played all 16 games, very durable guy. He always gets a lot of catches, usually right around 90. The first year he was with Detroit, he got 1,300 yards with 4 TDs, which 1,300 yards is great yardage, wonderful. The next year, he dropped all the way down to 800 and has 6 touchdowns. So you're like, right away you're wondering where that came from because he played a full season. And then he follows it up last year with a hot and cold, ends up with 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns again. So, can you expect much more than 4 or 5 touchdowns? No, probably not, especially with all the other weapons that Detroit has.
And if Ebron steps up, if Galladay's anything.
Exactly. And now you have Abdullah that's actually healthy. So, and you still have Marvin Jones, which, as frustrating as he had last year, Tate was almost as equally as frustrating. So, that's why he kind of fell here, because I feel like kind of the line I'm assuming probably about 1,000 yards and 4 touchdowns.
But he's fine as a wide receiver 3, and that's where he's at. So
and once again in PPR he does jump up a bit because he will catch 90 balls, it's almost guaranteed.
Move on to another guy who it's just hard to talk about because neither of us are excited about him. It's Jarvis Landry. My 24th, your 27th, because it's another one of these guys who just catches balls. He's steady in that way. But he did drop down last year a little bit from his prior years. Still had 94 catches, but the year before he had 110 catches. And I kind of expect Devontae Parker to make a jump. But now what do we expect with Cutler there? We kind of talked about it the other day. It seems like Cutler's a receiver, but I don't know how much accurate that is because he had Brandon Marshall, whatever. He had, that's kind of who he targeted. But he also threw the ball a lot to Eddie Royal when he was even in Denver and in Chicago. I think both places. He had Brandon Marshall in both places. But he threw it. Eddie Royal did well. So is that going to be that kind of situation? I don't know if you can really say for sure what he's going to do. I mean, can he just step into this offense? He hasn't been with this team. He's never played with these guys. Maybe a safe option like Landry's something he's going to throw the ball. I don't know. It's a hate situation. We got a quarterback coming in who hasn't been with the team. With Tannehill, I would have been sure Landry's going to get 90 to 100 catches, no problem. I still think he'll do something like that. But is there a reason the team hasn't offered him any kind of extension? Is he even in their future plans?
And I worry about the off-field stuff actually creeping in because now that's all you're starting to hear about him.
Yeah, we don't know anything. We don't know what's going on with this whole thing now. It's just never good news when you hear anything.
Yeah. So I mean. You figure out the guy. I mean, even last year he had a little over 1,100 yards with 4 touchdowns, right? So he's a lot like Tate in the way that he's going to get some good yardage. He's a very safe possession wide receiver, good for football. But because of the low TDs and kind of, you're not going to catch money more. I mean, 111 catches is crazy, and he still only had, 1150 with 4 touchdowns again. So that's not going anywhere. On top of that, you throw all this off-field stuff to take your, focus away, and you're taking away your kind of safety blanket, Tannehill, who he's played with his entire season or his entire career pretty much, and Devontae Parker, we're both expecting him to jump up, and he only had he didn't have that many catches last year. There's definitely more room to increase his targets, and Ajayi was so good in that when he was really giving the ball a ton. That's why Landry fell for me because I do see instead of 110, which some people might see, I see more of a mid-80s catch receptions this year. So. Will he be worthwhile to have on your team? Yes. Is it going to be Landry of old? No.
Yeah, and if he doesn't get the 100 catches, he's not as valuable because, he's had 13 touchdown catches in his entire career. That's over 3 seasons. He's never missed a game. 13 touchdowns off of 288 catches. It's,
and that's why even on PPR, I probably wouldn't even jump him up that much because I think there's a lot of question marks surrounding this guy now.
But if he gets targets, he's going to catch the ball. He catches 72% of his targets last year.
Don't get me wrong.
I'm looking at catch rates.
Phenomenal,
that's one of the
phenomenal
best ones
receiver.
Yeah, it's just that's by far one of the better ones I've seen. And I just don't know if that volume's going to be there as much as it was before. Number 26, it's Dante Moncrief. I kept saying Dante again before we started. Don't know why. He's your 22nd player, my 31st player.
Oh, damn.
You've been the big Dante Moncrief guy. Yeah. So I'm going to let you talk about Dante Moncrief and why you like him so much. Why? Because I kind of have him where he should be. So
yeah,
he just hasn't done it, so I want to see what
he does. I really like Moncrief and his upside. His injury concern wasn't as worrying, right? So last year he missed 7 games, but he still has 7 touchdowns. I mean, his red zone appearance, what he's going to do is catch a lot of touchdowns for this team because other than that, they have T.Y. Hilton, they have an aging Frank Gore, which I still have love for Frank even though he's getting older, and Jack Doyle. I mean, there's not a whole lot there, right? So Moncrief comes in and he has a major hole that he can fill, and especially in the red zone, he can really, really take advantage of that. The only thing that worries me now that we're getting farther into the season is this Luck situation. And if Luck is not there, Moncrief starts creeping back. So, especially knowing that he's probably not going to play week 1 now, I could probably even move him back a few spots already. I wouldn't move him back quite as far as you probably, because I really do think that his upside is really, really great. Anytime he's out there, he looks wonderful. And like I said before, he plays the wide receiving position differently than anyone else on that team. So he's kind of needed.
I would say I just haven't seen enough for him to have him up ahead of some of these guys, and I just worry about the situation right now. I mean, I think Luck will be fine. He's not going to go on the PUP list to start the year. He'll be there. But he hasn't worked. It's just I don't like the risk.
Yeah, how many? Right even if you miss 1 or 2 games, how many games before you're back to your normal self?
He's not going to play until week 1. He's not going to get any work. So I guess it's just something that I see the potential there. I just see other guys that I feel are safer, have done more in the past that I'm going to be happier with on my team. All right, number 27, Kelvin Benjamin, your 25th, my 28th, which I'm starting to feel like, I guess after tonight and his good preseason, that he's going to go up a little. He probably will go up slightly, but
I was really loving when everyone was doubting him because he was one of my sleepers. I'm like, dude, you can grab this guy late. He's going to produce. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think he has, out of these guys on here, another one who can really jump up. I don't know if he's ever going to be as good as maybe people thought 2 years ago. He's maybe not that. He's not an amazing athlete. He's just a big guy who's going to catch balls. Obviously, the whole talk about him just being out of shape. He doesn't really quite look out of shape, and just I was seeing some of the highlights. He's not really out of shape. He's just a big guy. That's what he is. He's a big guy, but he's going to catch touchdowns that way.
Yeah.
And he's going to probably catch a lot of touchdowns. It's just I don't know how good Cam Newton's going to be to get him the ball. Hopefully that was just a one-year downfall there last year. Who knows? But my other worry is it feels like they're kind of changing the offense. That's what all signs are pointing to by getting McCaffrey, getting Curtis Samuel, that they were going to go with more of this short passing game, throw it out to the side there and let these guys work with the ball. And maybe Calvin's not going to get as many targets. I think he's still going to get touchdowns. He'll still be very valuable.
Yeah. And the crazy part about it is even last year, everyone was super down on him. He finished the 20th overall wide receiver, right? And he only had 63 receptions. So his yard per catch was really, really high. And so he had 950 yards with 7 touchdowns. For only 63 catches, that is great, great production. And we already talked about how much the Panthers, their woes were last year. So if they get back on track at all, and once again, there's no one else to really throw it to. You have Olsen. Now you have McCaffrey and, Samuel, who are both rookies. Yep. But who do you have on the other side of him? Funches? He's still going to get
looking excellent. Remember, he's looking excellent.
Yep, is what. I'll believe it when I see it. But once again, I think he's very safe. PPR, I'd probably knock him down because he doesn't get a whole lot of catches. Yep. But when he does, he scores big. So.
All right, 28th is Willie Snead. Your 26th, my 27th. This is a good spot for him. I don't want to see him go higher than this. I've been worried that he's going to go a little bit higher. Kind of looking at the past numbers, Saints wide receiver 2s really don't catch more than about 80 balls maximum. That's about their top level, is about 70 to 80 passes. Snead should be in that range. This is why he should be ranked here. I see a lot of people really excited about him and jumping him up a little higher, like around to 20th, which I don't think you're going to see that from him. Drew Brees doesn't just target one guy all the time. He's still going to spread the ball around. Thomas will get his 90 to 100, probably 90 catches. Snead will get 70 to 80. And that's where he's going to be at. So if people are expecting 90 catches and 1,100 yards, I don't see that happening, and I just don't know if the touchdowns will be there. I think Michael Thomas is going to soak up a lot of touchdowns, and those running backs are going to get touchdowns. They're going to use them somehow. Brees is still going to throw a bunch, but he'll throw them to those guys. Fleener still could catch some touchdowns. Ginn's there.
They have a ton of mouths to feed.
He'll be good. I think he's going to be very good. I think he's going to be a safe player. I just don't expect. I don't think there's going to be this huge leap up.
Yeah, and I get that. And this is a good spot for him. This would be a solid number 3 wide receiver that I do think he has upside. I do worry about the touchdowns. That's kind of where I fall. Do I think he's going to get 1,000 yards? Absolutely, I do. Because he had almost 1,000 yards in his rookie year with New Orleans. So, but he only had 3 touchdowns and then 4. I don't know if he'll go much higher. Maybe he'll get 6. So how high is his ceiling? I'm not so sure. But I think he is very, very safe to have. And he's one of these guys that I love because I thought you would get such a value on him. And he's slowly going up and up everyone's ranks. So it's becoming kind of a, wait and see kind of thing. But I think he'll be very good. But I think you hit on a lot of points that are the worries. How many receptions is he going to get? What kind of red zones is he going to get looked at?
All right. 29th, Tyreek Hill. Now here's a big difference. He's 32nd for you. I have him 22nd.
Whoa.
And I'm going to sound like a crazy person here in a minute.
This is funny, too, because you're like a yo-yo when it comes to Hill.
Last year, I was the only one on Tyreek Hill, week 7 or 8. I don't think anybody talked about Tyreek Hill before.
Legitimately the first person to ever talk about Tyreek Hill, and I thought you were crazy.
And then all of a sudden, I kind of worried about this offseason. I feel like he's getting overvalued. Macklin leaves. I still didn't, put him up that high, but I don't know. Okay, here it is. I think Tyreek Hill is just an exceptional athlete, an exceptional player. I could don't want to say it because I feel like I'm going to sound like a crazy person. I could see him being. Okay, this is really. I can't even say it.
So don't do it.
I can't say it. He's like an Antonio Brown type. He's that good of an athlete. Antonio Brown was used more situationally his first couple of years. They kind of did that with Tyreek Hill, but they wanted to give him the ball. I'm not saying he's going to be Antonio Brown, I'm just saying he's a player like that who's just so quick and so fast. It doesn't matter his size. He's going to beat the corner off the ball, or from the snap every single time. He's going to get open, so they can put him wherever they want. They did all kinds of things with him last year. I think he's going to get more of a chance to show his receiving skills this year. The only reason he was a 5th-round draft pick is because of the off-the-field issues. This guy he got kicked off Oklahoma State because of all the stuff going on with him, and that's why he fell so far. Otherwise, talented, he should have been a 1st-round pick last year. And I'm getting excited about him as a player, and I think there's that type of potential, like top 10 wide receiver potential in the future here. Maybe it's not this year because it doesn't quite happen like that, but I think you're going to start to see more flashes of it. And I really think next year is a big year for that, but I still moved him up to 22nd. I'm really I think the size thing's always worried me, but I think Brown showed that and Beckham showed that it doesn't quite make it, that doesn't matter as much as you're just so quick that the defender can't even stay with you anyway.
Yeah. The thing that kind of, I guess, worries me, and I'm not going to just throw shade at the guy because, everything you say is pretty much correct. You can't deny how unbelievably athletic the guy is. But they're already talking about how he's going to pretty much give up on the kick returns. My guess is, probably even punt returns. We don't know what's going to happen with that. Do you really want your wide receiver 1 to be in danger of getting hurt on those things? And he had 3 touchdowns to that last year, talking about his numbers. He had 3 on rushing, which I could see it could very well stay the same. You think that he's going to do that. They're going to hand it off, throw some, end arounds, everything like that to him. My big thing about him is more about can he continue having all of those big plays in KC's offense? You have Alex Smith throwing it to him, and he's limited as far as it goes with his arm. So even as fast as you are, can you outrun Alex Smith? He probably could. He's that fast. So I'm kind of worried about that position that he's in. Can he really be a possession guy that runs 10 yards out, turns back, catches the ball, does his thing? I'm kind of waiting to see that. So 22 is too rich for my blood, but there's no doubt that you could strike gold if you end up drafting the guy.
Yeah, and I don't know. I got really excited about it. He's 22nd ADP right now. So not crazy, I guess, in that regard. Maybe the Antonio Brown talk is, but one more guy. It's Jamison Crowder. Is the 30th player. My 28th, you're 31st, which is odd because I feel like you're the Jamison Crowder guy here. You were last year.
I did.
When I was with Hale, you were on Crowder.
I love Crowder, but that was also when he was with 2 aging wide receivers. True. Now he's with Pryor and Doxson and possibly
it's a weird situation with Crowder for me because I feel like for some reason he gets labeled as this better PPR receiver, and he's never caught more than 67 balls. It's a weird thing. I hear this and people think of it that way, but he caught 59, then he caught 67. He doesn't really. That's his numbers: 59 catches for 600 yards, 67 catches for 847. So you can see a jump happen. It went from 2 touchdowns to 7 touchdowns. So we like that. I just don't know why people ever thought of him as a PPR guy because he's really not.
I think because he was shorter than big play guy usually.
He still should step up, you think, because instead of a 3, he should be the 2 now. It's just, I guess it depends on Doxson. He's probably not there yet.
And him and Cousins obviously had a good rapport. So everyone was getting hurt last year. Cousins leaned on him. And as you can see, a 5'10", sophomore wide receiver that got 7 touchdowns, 3 games over 100 yards is pretty substantial because we talk about that 3rd year, 4th year really being the breakout. Crowder, damn did it last year. So I'm excited. But once again, I'm tailoring my expectations, kind of holding back because everything in that offense is brand new. It's not just one thing. It's literally all 3 of the wide receivers are in a different position. So I'm kind of reserving my thoughts because I really don't know. One guy could blow up and then, those other 2 guys would be kind of back in the shadows waiting. So I'm waiting to find out.
The only concern right now, too, is that he's had a lingering hamstring injury, so he hasn't practiced yet, and we'll see. Sometimes those things can last a while.
I know. Those are always scary. Those ones that never really heal over the year.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up our top 30. We'll be back next week. We'll finish up. We'll probably go all the way through 60 next week. We have a lot of receivers to talk about, so we'll keep going on that. We'll have one more episode for you this week. We'll have our mailbag. We do every week. We have a bunch of questions from everybody this week. We'll get to those, answer all your questions. We will talk to you guys next time.